Hi everybody, this is Dave Walsh giving you a little bit of information about what flipped learning is. And hopefully by the end of this video you will have some idea of what it is and why you may want to do it. Realize that I can tell you everything about flipped learning, but it's not necessarily a magic bullet to solve huge problems that occur in a lot of classrooms. It's not a discipline strategy. It's not necessarily an engagement strategy. It's not necessarily closing the achievement gap. It's not a magic bullet to solve all the problems. It's just a teaching style. So we have to keep in mind that the best practices that we know as teachers, there's 9 of them. Good questioning, good classroom management are generally what they refer to. That those best practices are still best practices, whether you flip your classroom or whether you're a traditional teacher. But as we learn to flip, I think it's important for us to talk about Bloom's taxonomy. The bottom of Bloom's taxonomy here is what a traditional classroom typically focuses on, right here with the remembering and understanding. And that is correlated here with this time graph or time diagram, where those things at the bottom typically occur where there's the most teacher time, where the students have the most amount of teacher time, and there's very little student time. And then when it gets into the assignments that are more difficult and challenging, they have a tendency in a traditional classroom to get pushed home, where we're creating, evaluating, where we're doing a lot of those sorts of higher order thinking skills. And so again, when we go over to this time graph, you'll see that in a traditional setting, that's where we have a lot of student time, but not very much teacher time. In a flipped classroom, let's take a look at what happens to Bloom's taxonomy. Realize if you have a 55-minute period and you have 20 kids in your class, which is not unheard of in Collingswood, that seems to be about normal. Well, that means that you have less than 3 minutes per kid to make an impact. So why would I want to spend time doing the lower order stuff, the remembering and the understanding, when in class, what I really enjoy doing is creating and evaluating? That's why I'm being hired. The technology makes this now possible, where I can push this stuff out of my classroom and focus on this happening in my classroom, where we have a whole bunch of teacher time to do it. So what ends up happening is that as a teacher, you end up having more time to do the things that are more meaningful to those students that need those meaningful things. Okay? So I hope that this gives you some sense of why I feel it's important for me to flip, and I hope that